Anandji, maybe you can join us.
Live
Sorry about this, everyone. We're having some technical difficulties with,
request to join.
and we're trying to go live on Insight UK. View the request. To our live session today with Insight UK, Anandji. Can you see us, Anandji? I have accepted it. It's maybe turn off. See, it's so weird because it's doing the same thing. I can see the view, but I can't allow you to enter. It's very strange. I can't request. Oh, maybe this will work. Ah, go live with Insight. There's some conspiracy here. It's not allowing me and Anandji to go live together. So I'm so sorry, everyone. Um, we might have to try it one more time. See, I keep accepting it, and it just doesn't add you. Is it? Oh, can you see me? Oh, yay! I see you.
Well, I can't see you, but I think we're just gonna have to do.
Could you turn off the? There's an echo there. Yeah. Turn off the phone. Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. Okay, yay.
Oh well, I mean, I can't see you, but I can hear you, and I think that's
I
just the most
can
important thing
see
for
you.
now.
I can
Okay,
see you.
well, these
So
things
sorry,
happen, everyone.
everyone. Yeah.
Oh well, thank you
How
for.
are you?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really grateful that we're going to be speaking about this. It's about time,
Yeah,
and I've really been thinking. It's been on my mind every day, all day. Just really in so much pain. So I'm very grateful that we're finally able to speak about this.
absolutely. I mean, if the mainstream media won't do its job, then it's up to us to spread the word and hopefully convince them that this is what they need to be
Yes.
talking about.
Yes.
So yes, thank you. And may I say it's just a personal honor for me to speak with you as well. I'm really
Same
I'm,
here.
I'm really happy. I'm
Oh,
really happy. I've been wanting to meet you for some time now, and I'm really
grateful.
humbled and grateful for the
Oh,
opportunity. Thank you.
so grateful. So just for
Thank
just so
you.
everyone knows, this was actually supposed to be Anandji doing the live, and it wasn't working. We're having technical issues, so here I am.
Yeah.
Um, go
It
on.
is it is what it is. It's just gonna have to be like that. Maybe there's a glitch somewhere in the Instagram world, but we'll have to make the best of
Yeah.
it. So yes, this is of course Insight's first ever Instagram live. So it should appear on our website, and of course it's connected with Kishori Jani ji. So by all means, Namaste, Swagatam, and of course Jai Shri Krishna, Jai
Jai
Shri Ram
Shri
to
Krishna, Jai
all of
Shri
you.
Ram.
Jai Shri Ram. My name is Annalisha, and a very warm welcome to all of you to Insight UK's very first Instagram Live. We're delighted to have with us for our first live session a guest that is, I guess you could say, a stalwart of dharmic platforms and a true icon of ISKCON, if I may say so myself. Please welcome Kishori Jani ji. Kishori Jani, welcome the to our first Insta Live session.
Thank you
Um,
so much. Totally honored to be here.
and it's an honor to have you. And just to give you a bit of a background on who Kishori Janiji is, if you're not as aware, I mean, she is many things. She is many things. She is a Sanskrit teacher, and both her parents were, of course, Hindu priests. So that's quite an interesting thing to hear, and I'm sure has is basically what has made you into who you are today. You are a Vedic wisdom coach trained in the monastic lifestyle, but of course you do have a biochemistry degree from UCLA. I've done my research. And so that's allowed you to have a blend of of spreading and disseminating Vedic wisdom, but applied in the relevant modern context, which can further maximize your appeal and also just the way you can help people as well. But more than that, she and her family, she and her family are renowned for sharing wisdom from the Bhagavad Gita, of course, and through kirtans and spiritual, family-friendly insights for everyone to be immersed in the Bhakti yoga tradition. She also explores and explains empowered femininity in Bhakti and Sanatani or Vedic culture and history, which is, I'm really, that's why I'm also really happy to speak with you as well. And above all, you are a fearless dharmic advocate, championing Sanatana Dharma and speaking out for us and speaking against dharmic forces in the broader historical and political context. I just want to give everyone a bit of an overview into who you are in case you're not familiar. Of course, you're more than that, and we're going to be kind of seeing that as we go along. So Kishori Jani, of course, again, welcome to our first session. If you do have any questions as well, please type those in. We'll try and answer them. We'll see how we go. So of course, our first Insta Live session is going to be on the plight of Hindus and of course minorities in Bangladesh, which is very harrowing and something that we've been hearing about for generations, but again, not something that's covered in mainstream media a lot. So if you're not as aware of it or you don't know much about it, that's probably why. So let's just get into it first of all. So Kishoriji, for those who are unaware or not cognizant of the full details of what's been going on, what is happening currently with Hindus in Bangladesh? What sparked the latest harrowing story of the persecution and genocide of Hindus in Bangladesh, and why?
Well, and ever since obviously Sheikh Hasina ji was ousted and fled to India, it's been absolutely chaotic and really has turned up the danger and crisis for all of the minorities in Bangladesh. They were already being persecuted ever since the beginning of so-called Bangladesh, the end of East Pakistan back in 71. Even before that, there's been a history of persecution of Hindus, but in the last couple of years, it's just really become unbearable. I remember 2 or 3 years ago when the first ISKCON temple was attacked. I think it was October of 2021, and we'd done a big protest at the Bangladesh embassy in London. I remember at that time thinking, wow, it keeps getting worse. And over the past 3 years, it literally has just escalated into a daily thing. If you're actually following this through other channels, not mainstream media, you'll see that it's been ongoing for forever, really. But in the last 2 or 3 months, ever since Sheikh Hasina has been, removed, forcibly removed, and really, really, unfortunately, this is a big, we may call it a big conspiracy, but I truly believe this is America's meddling into this political, scenario in Bangladesh to kind of somehow destabilize India. This is all linked. Obviously, these are just theories, but whatever the reason might be, ever since she has been, kicked out, it's been really difficult, really absolutely dangerous. It's a urgent crisis mode. We've seen in the last month or so, there have been a lot of protests by the minorities, especially the Hindus, in which obviously Chinmay Krishnadas, a Hindu, I would call him an ISKCON devotee because he's still a devotee, but there was a little bit of complication in that he was actually removed from his post about a year ago. But he got arrested last month, or at the end of the month, for protesting under some really made up sedition charges, really completely made up, in the sense that they claim that he was, flying the Hindu flag above the Bangladeshi flag, or somehow disrespected the flag, which is absurd, and nobody would do that. When I heard him speak, he's actually a true nationalist. You can tell he loves Bangladesh. So these are just made up charges. He was arrested, and it's just been complete chaos ever since. The lawyer who was supposed to represent him got chopped up, literally got killed and chopped up into pieces. And of course, they tried to blame it as if the Hindus did it. Now, which Hindu would go and kill the lawyer who's trying to help the monk? This was completely fake news, but the Muslims, they tried to, twist the narrative to say that actually the Hindus are the violent ones. As we see again and again, this is very common. I remember even in Leicester when the riots happened 2 years ago, the really big Hindu-Muslim riots in Leicester, the same thing happened. So much misinformation, so much opposite narratives. Whatever was actually happening, the exact opposite would be spread on social media, saying that actually the Hindus are the ones who are doing the violence. So I'm seeing a lot of that on X. A lot of people trying to claim that the Hindus are doing the damage, whereas it's just so, salt on the wound, as if it's not bad enough that Hindus are literally being killed, their homes being burned down, the businesses, everything being destroyed. Women are being raped in the open and harassed, beat up. If you go on X and you follow, say, Bangladeshi Hindus, or these are actual videos. There's no denying it. You can't call it fake news. Anyway, it's every day something new is happening. First, they wanted to ban ISKCON as a terrorist organization. Sorry, yeah, I could
Yeah.
keep going. You have to stop me at any time. I'm just so
No, no, no,
overwhelmed with
absolutely. I mean,
disbelief.
no, I mean it would be you'd be hard pressed to find someone who wouldn't be overwhelmed. I mean, unless they were acting in a dharmic way. But no, thank you. And you actually kind of went ahead of me there because I was going to ask you, what do you think is the motive behind this? And is it anything to do with the ousting of Sheikh Hasina Ji? Maybe if people are a bit ambiguous as to her um, political standing or beliefs, is she someone who has and always has been
Yeah,
dharmic and for the Hindu population? Yeah, so is there anything to do with her ousting? And you mentioned that America is involved, that you think America is involved in this. So why don't you go into a little bit of detail about that?
there's
Because people
there's
might
so
want to
many
hear that.
theories, and obviously this is just my conclusion from
Yeah.
whatever I'm hearing and watching, that there's definitely involvement from the ex-Biden administration, obviously. I'm just an audience member as such, but it's been an ongoing agenda of the West to kind of almost get back at India,
Oh,
to help Yunus come in and somehow get rid of Hasina. Who knows what the actual story is, but this is a lot of people. This is the belief, a very strong belief, which has quite a bit of evidence that there's a clear evidence that there has been meddling. But even without the evidence, without that being the case, Sheikh Hasina has been whatever her flaws might have been. She's not perfect. She's done so many, uh, you know, egregious mistakes. You can really see in her own administration, she was quite authoritarian and became quite heavy-handed. But she was protecting the minorities because there was a relationship between India and Bangladesh. There's a very evident, obvious relationship there. Whether it was tense at times, wasn't always perfect, wasn't like Modi ji and her saw eye to eye for most of her time there, but where did she flee to? Where did she run to? Who has come
yeah,
to her protection? Isn't this the most absurd thing to imagine, that you're persecuting Hindus and the government is doing very little about it? But your own, prime minister has to flee to our country for her own safety. Shame on you. Shame on the
exactly.
entire system. That you claim, you're so proud to be Muslim, you're so proud to be Bangladeshi, but your prime minister has to flee your country because there is no law, there is no order. You're not going to try her in the court of law. You're literally going to try to kill her. You're going to vandalize her home and try to kill her. That this is, the lawyer who's trying to represent the so-called criminal. If you want to criminalize Chinmay Krishna Das, at least let him have a fair trial. No, you're going to kill the lawyer because how dare he represent him? So we're talking about a complete state of lawlessness and chaos. So Sheikh Hasina was, I think, the last straw that was holding these Islamist, these complete radical, fanatical Islamists that are now having a free reign in Bangladesh. The Jamaat-e-Islami Party, or the BNP, Bangladeshi Nationalist Party, they're hardcore, Islamists, and they're the ones who are out on the streets daily chanting death to ISKCON and chanting slogans that say, find ISKCON devotees and kill them. Find each one of them and kill them. This is not made up. There's proof, video proof, evidence of this. I'm not making this up. This is not fake news. So if you want to see evidence of this, you go to X, you can, or just Google it, follow the right channels that will show you evidence for this. What's really sad for me is to see that so many Hindus, devotees included, within ISKCON, outside of ISKCON, they don't actually know that this is happening. And I could take some of the blame for that, because I feel horrible even sharing the video. It just feels horrible, because you think, oh my goodness, is this real? And you don't even want to materialize it. Almost, you don't want to share it, because then it becomes real. But it is real. And there's also some other reason why we're not able to share. Anyway, I'll let you get a word in.
No, I could listen to you all day, and of course I'm sure all of us could. No, thank you. Yeah, I mean, yes, it's harrowing and it's awful, but I feel that in order for people to act and react, we need to see the truth of what's going on, no matter how
Ugly,
repulsive
scary.
it is, and ugly and scary it is, because this is the history and this is the life that people are living, and we can't hide away from that. So you said that Sheikh Hasina Ji is someone who has been acting in good faith and acting for the Hindu community, but then why is it that there is still such a long history of the persecution of Hindus and the genocide of Hindus in Bangladesh? And of course, the population has declined drastically within the last 50 years, you could say. So why is that, you feel?
I mean, I just can't imagine the task that she had on her hands, trying to make Bangladesh a secular nation. That was her agenda. Her and her father were the first to kind of break Bangladesh away from the terror of Pakistan as such. The East and West Pakistan, the situation there. So their family has been involved in trying to make Bangladesh into a secular nation. But if you have such extremism and fanaticism and such a majority in your population, I think it's too late. It's like bad parenting. You realize when the kid is 30 years old that, oh, it's a little too late to really try to, change the mood and try to make them secular, because it's just not in the religion. Secularism does not exist in Islam. To think that it exists is, the greatest folly. But there is no such. Any Muslim majority country will eventually become 100% Muslim. Because that is the goal of Islam. So you can't. There's no fighting it. There's no question of secularism in Bangladesh. Now this is the reality that we have to contend with, actually, because no matter how much Sheikh Hasina or Yunus tries, Muhammad Yunus, it actually is not going to happen. It's it's wishful thinking that we can now take this back, which is why many Hindus, they're saying, actually, let's split up Bangladesh. Let's make it into let's have a minorities part and a majority part, because they're not going to be able to coexist. You can see this. What is the government going to do? Really, there is no hope as such.
Well,
So I don't know. Your question is, why couldn't Sheikh Hasina control them? I think it's too tall of a task, too little, too late, really.
yeah, I think she did the best she could to mitigate everything and to
Yes,
try and find
try to
some kind of a
control the
resolution.
situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
You mentioned that there's probably no hope, and I'm going to get into that a little bit later. Just ask if there could be a chance of some kind of light at the end of the tunnel, if you like. So coming back to ISKCON, Of course, ISKCON has such a illustrious and beautiful history in Bangladesh, and has also been there to help the community and be there and support everyone. Most notably, during the 1971 economic crisis, ISKCON's founder, of course, Sri Prabhupada, raised the equivalent of uh, $2.5 million for the Bangladeshi people, and that's around $16 million or 12 million pounds in today's currency. So again, it's just, and that just shows how the extent to which they were able to help people. Yet, like you said before, they're being told they're radicals and they're this and that. So how does that make you feel? And even now, more priests are being arrested. There's advice being given out that people in ISKCON or Hindus are told to practice their faith discreetly, like they have to hide it. How does that make you feel? Why
Just
should we be outraged at that?
yeah, it's really heartbreaking. It's really, really heartbreaking. But again, it's a reality that almost it's like, again, I'll bring bad parenting into the picture when you realize there's actually you can't if your child is wayward, you can't expect anything like gratitude or mercy from them. It's almost like, well, this is just you have to accept the situation and then move forward, because trying to expect something back from Bangladesh or the radical Muslim in return for the incredible humanitarian work that's been happening in Bangladesh from ISKCON devotees, it's again, if we're expecting it, it's our foolishness, really, because it's not going to come. It's not going to come from their end, because they see us as kafirs. They see us as blasphemers, and no matter how much food you feed them on Ramzan or whatever, we've seen all the pictures of devotees feeding them during Eid, lining up all the Muslims and feeding them prasad. What to speak of those millions of dollars and pounds that were raised to help Bangladesh. This is just, tip of the iceberg of the kind of humanitarian work ISKCON is trying to do there. Time and again, whenever there's a crisis, devotees get together, because that is Sanatan Dharma. Actually, God, the concept of Sanatan Dharma puts God almost on, the back burner, because Krishna and God is within everything. You've got not just Vasudhaiva Kutubakam, you've got Atithi Devo Bhava. You treat everyone because you see God in their heart. So God is not just in the temple, not just in the deity that the Muslim is trying to destroy. We're seeing God, we're seeing Krishna, the Paramatma, in everyone's heart, whether he's Muslim, whether he's a Kattar Muslim or not. We still see God in the heart. We don't label them as kafir and blasphemer and try to kill them. We'll feed them. And yes, so many people will call us foolish. There's so many on Twitter. There's a field day about ISKCON's foolishness. How dare they feed the people the mouth that wants to kill them? But this is dharma. No matter how low they fall, we shouldn't be giving up our dharma. Of course, we've got to smarten up. We've got to be intelligent. And now is the hour that we realize there is no more humanitarian work that can be done in Bangladesh. Now we just need to survive. We need to protect our lives. And so, it's heartbreaking. You're asking me, how does it feel? It feels like Kalyug, like the real agenda of this age is coming to the forefront, which is quarrel and hypocrisy in the name of God, killing somebody else, torturing them, raping them. This is all done in the name of God. Like that, this is the identity of Kali Yuga. This is the identity of the height of quarrel and hypocrisy. So I guess in a way, we've just got to prepare for what's coming. This is the this is what's on the menu for a long time to come. Now, what are we going to do about it? That's what we need to start studying.
Exactly. I mean, yes, we may be in Kali Yuga, but people like us and other people who are similar to our platforms, other online platforms that are similar to ours, we're trying to do the work as much as
Yes.
possible to extricate ourselves out of this Kali Yuga. So I would say don't lose hope, even though it looks like it's just no longer there anymore. You said that yes, of course we have to do something about it, but apparently there is an ISKCON school of thought in that if concerns are raised on Bangladeshi atrocities towards Hindus and minorities, then in fact, and to ISKCON as well, then the attacks will increase or get worse. It would just make the situation worse for people. So, what is your view on this?
Yeah, yeah. So in the beginning, that was really difficult for me to swallow. I was like, as soon as I heard of this, I wanted to start protesting. Let's go out on Harinam and let's, have our voices heard. Like, let's take the placards and start, uh, start retaliating. I have a bit of Kshatriya blood in me, I think, and I'm not someone to sit quietly. But I was told to stand down, and that was hard for me because uh, basically the Bangladeshi devotees shared with us that the protest that we did 3 years ago in front of the Bangladeshi embassy in London actually was a disservice to the Bangladeshi devotees. And that's why the Islamists, the extremists in Bangladesh have labeled ISKCON as a basically extremist terrorist organization. That's where they get it from because, oh, now we're political. We're seen as someone who is going to protest outside the embassies and and they've seen a bit of our power as such. We're a global community. We're a society that's all around the world. So instead of helping, the protest actually was causing a lot of disturbance to the local devotees in Bangladesh. And so we've been told this time around that by the Bangladeshi devotees, don't protest. It's so sad. But for the safety of Bangladeshi devotees, we are told don't go out on the streets, don't, yell death to Bangladesh, because we could retaliate. While they're shouting death to ISKCON, we would like to retaliate and say, Bangladesh, wake up. But they're saying if you do that, somehow the situation will worsen for them, for the actual, the locals in Bangladesh. So as hard as it is, and as cowardly as it makes us look, really, you will not see many ISKCON temples going out right now, especially not globally. In India, they've still managed to protest quite a lot. But one of the reasons is that we're trying to respect the wishes of the local devotees who are actually being, are living through this. So we don't want to make it worse for them.
Exactly. And I think that's why it's all the more important and crucial that the media demonstrates and shows exactly what's
Exactly.
going on. Yeah, so that the people themselves don't have to if they're fearing for their
Right.
lives.
Right.
So coming to that, yes, despite the atrocities, the media remains silent or distorts the truth about what's going on. I mean, if you even just type in Bangladeshi Hindus on BBC News, you'll see all sorts, and it's just really aggravating. Yet they're willing to lament about what's going on in the Middle East, shall we say? I think don't let's not get into that too much. But and of course, not to compare human suffering,
No.
because we're not trying to compare and contrast. Oh, this one is suffering more than that. Human suffering is human suffering, but it's the way in
Don't be
which the
biased.
truth about what's going on.
Yeah.
Yes, don't be biased, and it's about the way in which the truth is talked about. So why is it still in 2024 and having all these platforms out there to study and to look at where the mainstream media, or as it's being now called, legacy media, is not the only they're not the only ones out there. So why is it that this truth again is still not talked about widely enough, or if at all?
Yeah.
I remember of course there were stories when during Navratri and Diwali, temples, mandirs were being destroyed. And again, there was just so much suffering, and it's just all contributing to the cultural genocide of the Hindus. So why are we not hearing as much from the likes of BBC and Guardian and New York Times and Washington Post and all of those entities? Why?
I would say, Anandiji, that it's about to change. I think we've lived under a lot of oppression, and I'm talking about the Hindu mindset. We have not traditionally and culturally been as outspoken as the other parties have been, but it's changing. And I'm so proud of you. Thank you for this is a new wave. We're gonna have to keep doing this. We're gonna keep having our voices heard. I
Absolutely.
remember the riots that happened, and nothing was shared. Even when the last Bangladesh crisis happened, BBC shared nothing.
Mm.
So we signed a petition, we protested outside BBC, and it made a difference. I was contacted by a few people, and anyway, it made a difference. So we have to just step up our game, and it's changing. You can tell. Look at America. Tulsi Gabbard, Vivek Ramaswamy, Jay Bhattacharya. Like
Yeah.
we are not as loud, but we will make a difference. So have faith that just because we're not so loud and we don't make it in the legacy media, because let's face it, they're all bought out anyway. They all have an agenda anyway. So we just have to do our duty. We've got to continue to speak out, even if it's on social media, whatever small channels we do have. You're doing great work inside UK. I'm super grateful. So I have hope. I think legacy media is a tanking ship. It's I follow X and Elon Musk, and I have hope. If they can make it, we can make our little mark,
Yeah.
each one of us, and it's happening.
It is happening. And if there isn't a tanking of the legacy media, at least there needs to be a change, a drastic change and a revolution from the inside. So maybe we'll be starting to see that as well.
Yes.
Yes, I think from what you said, maybe there are slivers of hope, despite the
Hmm.
atrocities and everything that's been going on. There is hope. I'm sure you guys might have seen that this issue has been spoken about in the UK Parliament a lot.
Yes. I
And
was just
two
gonna say
prominent
that.
MPs. Yes, yeah,
So,
I got,
so many
no, I
MPs.
got
No,
you.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I was so impressed because last time the crisis happened, nobody was in Parliament. Like, it was I think one person. It was
yeah.
one. Was it who was it?
I think
Bob
it's Bob
Blackman. I think he
Blackman.
spoke
Bob
out.
Blackman.
He's
Yeah,
always,
he's always
yeah. Big shout
done
out to
that.
Bob
Yeah,
Blackman ji. Namaste.
was
Hare
it Bob
Krishna.
Blackman?
He's
I wish
always
you were with us right
he's
now.
got our back.
Yes, he's
But
definitely
this
got our back.
time, I think I've seen at least 4 or 5 MPs speak out
Yeah,
recently in the
and
Parliament. So,
including Labour MPs as well, which is
which is new.
surprising. Yeah,
So we're definitely, that's what I mean. I think there is an uptick. There's a surge of awareness. I also saw a BBC article come out, relatively soon, and it was biased, but it wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be.
yeah. So
So there's a little bit of hope there.
yeah. They need to kind of not be as complacent as before. Yeah, of course, there was Labour MPs, there was a mix on both sides, Conservative Labour MPs speaking out on the issue. There were international protests in Finland, in India as well, in itself, and of course
Paris,
in
New
Paris,
York.
New York's Times Square, and I think, as far as I believe, there was representatives talked about the issue at the UN Human Rights Council.
Yes,
So that's a major platform as
that was
well.
big.
Um,
That was
that was big.
big.
And now the US has elected once again President Trump, who himself has always condemned
Jai Trump,
Hindu
Jai Ho.
persecution. Of course, he's always condemned Hindu persecution in Pakistan, Bangladesh, and now his new cabinet features so many Hindus and Sanatanis.
Hindus and
Yeah,
Sanatanis. So,
exactly.
so, so, like I said, we don't have to be loud. Dharma does not have to be loud. It has to be practiced. It's not about how much we talk about it. It's about how much we practice it.
Mm,
So this is the beauty of someone like Tulsi Gabbard. She lives Sanatana Dharma. Vivek Ramaswamy is a vegetarian. He doesn't drink. He's actually a Sanatani, not just by name. So this is the power of people who can make a difference. So if you are a Sanatani listening to this, let's up our game.
yeah.
not just talking about it, not just protesting on social media. Let's live the Sanatana lifestyle.
Yeah.
Let's practice our dharma, because dharma will protect us. Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. So dharma will only protect those who actually live the dharma, not just speak about it. Because actually what we're seeing, all this fake narratives and flipping of the victimhood is basically, two sides thinking they are right. Just because we think we're right doesn't make us right. We have to live it in our acharan, in our day-to-day life, to be able to have the backing of dharma, have that power in our life to actually make a difference. So I'm so inspired by Ramaswamy ji and Tulsi Gabbard, and you can tell Bhattacharya ji, now Kash Patel.
Yeah.
These people are open Hindus. They're so that's very encouraging for the
Yeah.
for the new generation. For someone
And
like my son to look up to these people and be like, hey, successful Hindus who actually live the Hindu lifestyle, you know.
exactly. We could have all done with those role models in the public sphere. We could have all have
Yes.
used that. But the past is the past, and I'm just glad it's happening now. And hopefully, with the new government in the US, that could help to change things. Because I have a feeling that President Trump, and I'm sure you, Kishori Jani ji, will also have the viewpoint that he is not going to spare the dharmic forces who are wreaking havoc.
He's not perfect. He's not perfect by
He's not
any
perfect, but
means.
he's
He's made a lot of
gonna,
mistakes.
yeah.
But I really value I do think he's dharmic. He's very family focused. He has dharmic values. He's obviously done, some weird stuff, but he's been protected for a reason. And I think a lot of this rioting in Bangladesh has to do with the fact that come Jan 20th, the actual, uh, you know, hands of, power will change. So they're trying to do as much damage as possible, is my 2 cents on the take, on the situation that that Bangladesh is going through a lot of turmoil, specifically before the power change in the US. So hopefully
Exactly.
things will change come Jan 20th.
Yeah. So hopefully he's willing and he's praying as well. So Kishori Janiji, before we wrap up, just if you can maybe share your insights on what do you think the future holds for ISKCON in Bangladesh? What do you think will happen with regards um, to the monks who've
Yes,
been
I
arrested and others who've been arrested? What do you think is what's the outcome of this, do you think?
I actually don't know. I want to say everything's going to be okay come Jan 20th, or somehow there's going to be a massive shift. It looks a little bit promising. I saw a picture of, the whole Bangladeshi, like, uh, parliament or someone. They're all standing together. We're going to protect the minorities. There is some lip service at least. And yet no bail has been allowed to Chinmay Krishnadas, and many more devotees have been arrested. So it's very hard to tell. Maybe they will come to their senses and actually provide protection. But I see videos every single day, and the terror is absolutely ongoing at present. So I'm just praying, and we can make our voices heard in this way. We may not, I mean, ISKCON devotees are not protesting on the streets, but we are doing our part. We're trying to raise awareness, at least amongst Hindus itself. I mean, the very basic thing we can do is awaken to the need of the hour and not remain asleep, that this will not come to us. Any Hindu who thinks that this war that's going on in Bangladesh or Pakistan, where Hindus are actually being persecuted, if you think it's not going to come to your doorstep, um, you're asleep. You're in some dreamland, because it's happening everywhere. You know, we had a little glimpse of it 2 years ago here in Leicester.
Mm-hmm.
So it can happen anywhere. We have to be prepared, dharmically prepared, that actually, what would I do in this situation? How will I protect myself? Where is my center? Is it just words and this theoretical Sanatan Dharma that I follow, or is it something much deeper? And am I willing to awaken and stand up for it? Am I willing to fight for it? Not just externally, like through words, but really internally. Am I willing to protect it, to protect Sanatan Dharma? That is a real deep reflective exercise every single Hindu should be engaged in right now.
Exactly, and I think that's why more people should flock to people like yourselves and attain a true understanding of what the Bhagavad Gita is and its relevance and context in everyday life. And I think if we could use that as a sort of as a tool to be able to look inwards and be confident in talking about the truth and being proactive, is kind of like what you said, just being more proactive instead of reactive. I think that's what
Yes.
needs to be done. It's having that sort of that insight
Insight,
and using that.
readiness, and an actual depth of understanding of Sanatana Dharma. Don't just be proud of being a Sanatani because, well, I mean, it is the greatest culture and is the only thing. Actually, the Muslims don't realize it, but they need Sanatana Dharma to thrive, for them to survive. Bangladesh needs India to be a Hindu country for their own benefit. If they didn't learn in 71 that their own Muslim friends brothers were killing them, Muslim brothers are killing them. They needed the Hindu to come to their protection. Again, not just, in 47, again in 71. Now, the Muslims around us, they need to understand they need Hindus. They need India to be a Hindu country for their own safety. The Muslim needs India to be a Hindu country for their own safety. I think
Exactly.
this thought needs to dawn on every Hindu, and it is slowly that mindset is shifting. I've seen so many Muslims also talking about it, even in India, when they're talking about Sambal and all these uh, mosques that are actually temples. They're realizing actually we need Hindus. So
Exactly.
the change is coming.
The change is coming. That is a really, really good point to end on. But before we do, are there, I don't know if Kishori G, if you can see there are any questions from our viewers, if maybe there's a really good one that we could answer on
Okay,
behalf of
I wasn't
everyone
really
tuning
paying
in.
attention, but I
Well,
can. Let's see. Is there any questions, anyone?
I don't know. There might not be, but it's okay because I think we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
People are just sort of commenting on what's been
Yes.
going on, and rightfully so.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us,
you.
everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, if I could just quickly remind everyone to please follow Insight UK. Of course, this live session kind of got off to a rocky start when we're doing on Kishori G's Instagram account. But that's okay because,
Yes.
we get the truth out no matter the obstacles.
Yeah.
So please, of course, follow Insight UK. Of course, follow your account as well. And just want to also let you know that Insight UK has been, we've been doing awareness and email campaigns to MPs, and we're also kind of politically and logistically doing our best to spread the word and do all we can to affect real and long-lasting change. So just want to put that out there. And of course,
Beautiful.
Kishori, you're doing amazing work as well. So thank you so
I really
much.
appreciate it.
Thank you so
Yes.
much, of course. And Kishori Ji, of course, the Insight Live is the live session is on your account. So of course,
I
please do
will
share that with
I will
Insight
turn it
Social
off.
Media and
Thank
share it.
you so
Of course,
much, Anandi ji.
thank
We'll do this again
you.
soon. We'll
I
keep
look
this
forward
going.
to it. I look forward to it. Thank you. May this be one of
Okay.
many,
Yes.
many with you. So
Yes.
thank you so much.
Hare Krishna,
Namaste.
everyone.
Hare
Jai Shri
Krishna, Jai
Ram.
Sri Ram. Thank you for joining us.